live on Zoom. And not yet. What's going on with that? Not quite sure why that is. There we go. Okay. That's very interesting. Morning, everyone. I can still say that for 8 more minutes. Today is Monday, May the 12th, 2025. It is the full moon in Scorpio today. And for those of you that may have seen, I had a couple of videos that I did where I'd forgotten to pull this microphone over. I'm hoping that where I've placed it now is still okay. Please let me know anytime there's an audio issue. At least I don't have it right in my face. But if you can't hear me, please do let me know so I can pull it down a little bit and kind of go from there. So I I did re-record 2 videos that I had put out yesterday. So because the audio was kind of bad. So anyway, there's that. So I hope everyone's had a lovely Sunday, Mother's Day. And ooh, already we got one that turned upside down. Ooh, surrender to play. This is very interesting. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. See, now it's very interesting that this one come out because I took some time before I went live this morning to just sit quietly here and shuffle a really good shuffle to these decks that I've been using. And as I was doing that, it came to me again. Why are you doing this again now? Um why are you doing this? Right? Now, part of it is that I promised to follow all my nudges. And there's been, several things that have come up in my field of late that I knew on one level or another I was meant to record and share on the channel. But now this is in regards to other things. Like for me personally, I just adore having conscious conversations with people where different topics are discussed so that I can be exposed to other points of perspective. Um, I live in this right here, and I know what this perspective is. And I'm really interested in having conversations with others to get other perspectives, right? But it seems to me like um, I don't know, I don't have very many takers anymore for conversations, for conscious conversations. And even when I do, um, which again, I get it if folks don't want to appear on camera. I don't have a problem with that anymore. I used to because I didn't see the point in not, being on camera because, everybody is who we are and there's really nothing wrong with that. But So I've relaxed that idea, and I have conversations with folks who don't want to be on camera, but are still okay with being recorded and sharing, because I don't know, there's a lot of things that other perspectives, other thoughts, other feelings uh, can be helpful to see. They certainly have been to me. Um, but I don't get many takers anymore of any kind of conversation, whether you are on camera or not. Part of the reason I like folks to be on camera is that there's so much communication that gets left out when you can't see the other being. Um, and like I said, I get it. I guess Gloominous Doom came out. Oh boy. At any, well, yeah, because see, now that's kind of interesting in and of itself, because I was kind of feeling a little gloomy, like, what's the whole point of this? Why are you continuing to do this? Does it even matter? But it does matter to me. Um, I still haven't even had not one being contact me about um, joining our book club for the Celestine Prophecies. And I'm kind of sad about that too. Only because it feels so valuable to me. Um, these these book club, you know, because Lisa started this several years ago now, and we've done several books, and I've learned so much from all of our reading together. Again, being able to see other perceptions, perspectives is so helpful. The love card came out from the Alchemy Elemental deck. So anyway, there's just a lot of thoughts going through my head. I guess I'm kind of I was sort of riding a high yesterday, I think, from doing all the recordings of Jason Gray's work. And so I don't know, I also have been just having some really kind of, okay, weird dreaming lately. Oh, coming together, huh? Well, see, now that's kind of interesting, because as I see this coming together, I was flashed the words from Astro Butterflies, a take on the full moon. There are still things within my field that require my attention. And I know this in a huge way. Um, I finally admitted to myself last night that I was rather sad that I didn't hear from my child for Mother's Day. Um, Even though the rational part of me knows that it has absolutely nothing to do with me and more to do with, where he's at and what he's moving through. It's still, and I had to admit that to myself, it still stung a little. So, North Star, flip your inner light switch. Okay. And that's true too, right? My opinion about me is my opinion about me. I need nothing, no other input in any way, shape, or form. That's why I said it's kind of interesting to observe oneself as you move through some of these things. You know what I mean? It's the programmed, conditioned part of my mind that wants to be stung and hurt. Apparently wants to, because it is what it is. Um, and there's really, because in the more expansive way of looking at it, he is just another me. And that's why I say in the rational part of me, I am aware that it is not about me. Oh, two. I pulled out two accidentally. Let's see. Ooh, have never had this one. Cat, intuition. And never had this one either. Work, beaver. Okay. So let's see what we got today. One more deck to go through, and then we'll get to the reading itself. On some days, I feel, well, it's really interesting. Once you start paying attention to yourself, you start seeing things that you wouldn't normally see. At least I have, right? And my intuitive sense has really picked up in that. The other day, I was, yesterday or day before, I heard my ringtone go off, right? As if my phone was ringing in my mind's ears. Let go of the old. Well, isn't that good advice? That is what the whole thing about the full moon that's coming up, that is here today, that whole thing that Astro Butterfly was speaking on is about how we have uh, feet in both worlds. And I can sense that for myself in a really huge way. That's why I said the old me, the little me wants to be hurt, apparently. And I can't just sweep that under the rug. I have to feel those feelings all the way through, because that leads to spiritual bypassing for me. And I know that's a very real thing. So I sat and spoke on that out loud with Lisa last night, because I didn't want to just ignore that feeling, that I was feeling hurt, that I didn't hear from my child at all. I heard from his wife. She reached out and said, Happy Mother's Day to me through private messenger, but I did not hear from him, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so let go of the old. Are you holding on to beliefs and notions that no longer serve you? Well, and it doesn't serve either. Holding on to something like that doesn't serve me at all. Are you blocking your own growth and forward momentum because you fear to end a chapter in your life? What? I was just sitting here while I was doing all this shuffling, wondering about that very question for myself. Because there are things that I really would like to do that I have not made any sort of movement towards doing. Like travel, which, that takes money that I don't have, but, that sort of thing. I got to figure out a way to make that happen in some sort of way. Well, no, I don't have to do that, because if it's meant to be, it will present itself. The van came along, just the way to make it into a rolling bedroom didn't exactly pan out. So It is time to release all that you hold on to that no longer serves. It is time to say goodbye to all that no longer has a place or purpose in your life. It is time to have an emotional or physical spring clean. It's time to let go of the past so you can be open to what the future may bring. Well, that's true, but you see, that's just the other thing. I thought I had done that, and perhaps I have not. And kind of interesting that it's the peacock too, because the symbology of the peacock is a very interesting one, especially given what I was talking about just now with the whole idea of wanting to be hurt, right? It's not a wanting to be hurt, just noticing that it stings, right? Okay, so I think I want to do the animals next because they're right here, the two of them. And I think beaver, work is the key word there. We're going to go with that first. It's card number 27, which is a 9 numerologically, the end of a cycle. We'll see what this has to say. The key word, work. And this certainly looks like an an action card for sure, because it looks like that beaver is moving. To love your work is a gift. Find a balance between work and rest. It is worth aligning your work with your purpose if you can. Being positively, mindfully engaged in your work, no matter what it might be, is healthy. Someone may be attempting to micromanage you at your job, and this is not an optimum way to work. Perhaps it is time to be your own boss. I don't have anybody micromanaging me, that's for sure, as I don't actually physically work. The mythos. The Ojibwe First Nations people tell a story about the beaver. A beaver was speaking with the other animals and was telling them how happy he was about his tail. Look, bird, how fluffy my tail is. It's so fluffy, is it not? Asked the beaver. The bird looked at the beaver's very fluffy tail and said, sure, it's very nice, but seemed dismissive to the beaver. The beaver then went to a muskrat. Do you like my tail, muskrat? Is it not beautiful and thick with fur? Muskrat said, yes, but is it a strong tail? The beaver was puzzled. I asked if you thought my tail was beautiful, not strong. The muskrat just shook his head and walked away, saying, who cares if your tail is beautiful or not? The beaver was upset with the animals he had spoken to and went back to cutting trees for his dam. As he was thinking about how rude the other animals had been to him, he misplaced a cut and a tree fell on his tail. The beaver wiggled his tail out from under the tree and saw that the weight of the tree had flattened it and removed the fur. It was black and leathery now. The beaver sat on the sandy shore and cried heartily. He cried so loud that the Creator himself came to comfort him. The beaver said to the Creator, "Oh, Creator, look at what has happened to my tail. It is flat and ugly now." And the Creator said, "No, it is not ugly, and now it is more useful. Now you will be able to swim so much more strongly." And Beaver considered this and realized this was true, but thought that his friends would not care for him anymore. The Creator smiled and said, "No, Beaver, your tail is not why your friends love you. They love you for your hard work and industry and your kindness and goodness. Your tail has nothing to do with it. This is a really good story on a lot of different levels for me. I can hear basically what I was just talking about too. And with that, the beaver was satisfied. Beavers feature in many mythos of the First Nations of the Americas and Canada, the Inuit and the ancient Norse. The animal, the beaver, is an incredible transformational force upon the landscape. They can divert rivers and waterways and construct dams that create flooded areas, pools, and ponds that enable fish to breed and certain plants to flourish. Besides humans, they are most probably the most powerful architects of a landscape on Earth. To do all this changing of the landscape, beavers need to be industrious and work hard. They seem always to be active and busy, literally cutting down trees with their powerfully sharp front teeth, which continually grow, and using their hands to move heavy objects and shape mud. They do this to dam areas so they can build their lodges, working through the night and day. The interior of their lodges do not freeze hard in winter because of the nature of their construction, with air pockets above the pile of branches and sticks, and the insulating effect of snow. Beavers share their lodges as monogamous pairs with their kits. They are territorial and will defend their territories. They are strongly built and weigh an average of 25 kilograms and are the second largest rodent on Earth after capybara. I'm not quite sure what that is. Their tails, in particular, are a great asset, the rounded, flat shape being able to propel them very quickly in the water, but also giving them good balance on land. Beavers are very agile underwater and are able to stay there for up to 15 minutes if threatened, although they usually spend only a few minutes at a time, as there is always work to do. The magic. When you find it hard to motivate yourself or when things are not working out with your career or work situation, Beaver Energy can help. When you need help finishing a physical project or attracting good craftspeople, call upon Beaver Magic to assist. Symbology: lodge, paddle-like tail, beaver teeth, and their status is of least concern. Yeah, there's something in that right there about I can see how it applies to what I was speaking on earlier for myself, although I can't actually pull it out to share, but I can see how that is. So very interesting too. That was card 27, and the intuition card, the cat card, is card 37. So almost a full cycle away when you think of it, a little more than a full cycle away. Cat, keyword intuition. Use and develop your intuition. Your gut feeling is correct. You are not your mind. Develop your magical skills further. Introduce more play into your life. Well, isn't that interesting? After getting surrendered to play from the surrender deck. Well, this is what this is for me in many ways too. I look at this as play. This really isn't work, what I do here on the channel. It helps me, so in one way it is a work, but it's also play. Okay. I don't think there's been enough play as of late, perhaps. The Egyptian goddess Bast is the embodiment of cat energy, a very ancient deity. She was originally a lion goddess, somewhat like Sekhmet, but her leonine nature diminished in favor of the cat energy. A very ancient goddess, Bast is featured in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Statues of Bast usually depict either a woman with a cat's head or a regal, beautifully formed cat with royal symbology and sometimes a lion mask signifying a hidden force of nature. Bast offered protection to her worshippers in everyday life rather than in battle, as this was Sekhmet's role. And she was the goddess who helped bring messages and guidance through intuition. Bast also demonstrated a loving, playful energy. The historian Herodotus traveled to Egypt in the 5th century BC and told of his experiences at the festival of Bast at the riverside town of Bubastis. He spoke of people traveling down the river by small boat and playing and jesting with the people on the shore as they passed. Once they reached the temple, they make a festival with great sacrifices, and more wine is drunk at this feast than in the whole of the year. Sounds like a lot of fun. In ancient Egypt, domestic cats were very much a part of city and family life. In a time when plague and disease could not easily be halted and could easily spread, the services of a fine feline hunter were appreciated. Cats became symbols of protection and royalty and were even mummified as companions and protectors of the dead in the afterlife. In the Norse mythos, cats famously pulled the goddess Freya's chariot, surely an activity not for beginners. Cats have always been associated with the witchcraft of many traditions, especially in Europe. It was said that a black cat could give you good or bad luck, dependent upon your culture, and that cats are able to see spirits and travel between the world of the dead and the living at will. It is this association that made cats a target for burning and killing in the Middle Ages and encouraged the plague that was spread by fleas carried on rats. Oh my. Growing up, my mom always had a cat, a black cat. She always had a black cat. The animal. Next to dogs, cats are the most popular domesticated companion animal. I say domesticated lightly because scientists believe they haven't quite completed the domestication cycle as yet. That's interesting. Since they tend to survive well on their own in colonies and still retain a very independent nature. Humans have been a part of cat life for in excess of 10,000 years, according to the latest archaeological information. They were invited in not just because of their appearance, but because of their abilities as mousers. The Egyptians loved their house cats so much that if they died, there would be an official period of mourning that included eyebrow shaving, and their cat would be mummified and taken to Bubastis. Cats come in all shapes and sizes, and humans have spent a lot of time honing and creating specific breeds. However, from a Siamese to a Maine Coon, they are all feline and all are scientifically known as Felis catus. Cats are small but athletic and are able to jump great distances. They are hypercarnivores and use a variety of vocal sounds and purring to the delight of humans and other cats. Scientists are still debating about the evolution of the purr, but I think most cat owners would understand that it encourages us to give them more of the treatment that makes them purr in the first place. In the main, it is a sign of contentment and happiness. The magic. Cat magic can be used in a variety of ways, including to increase happiness, curiosity, a sense of play and lightness, and somewhat paradoxically, when we may be wanting to connect with someone who has passed. Cats are considered guides to the underworld and can help with mediumship. If you have a cat yourself, it is said that you have the blessing of any goddess who loves cats, and so this can only enhance your life. Symbology: almond-shaped eyes, woman with a cat's head, chariot pulled by cats, vertical pupil, and black cat. The status is of least concern. In many ways, I sort of miss having a cat. I mean, we always had one when I was growing up, and my ex of 28 and a half years loved and adored cats. And but then I had then I got sick, and I I had a gigantic hole in my body for a lot of months, and it had to be dressed and cared for, and seeing cat hair flying around in the house started to freak me out, so we had to let the cats go. And now, of course, my housemates are very allergic, so there isn't any cats around. And of course, I have trouble breathing myself, so that's not a something we can actually do right now. So I think for me, this is more about the intuitive portions of it and the incorporation of more play. And I'm just not certain in what way I could incorporate more play. Okay, of who is left, I'm getting that it has to be Gloomless Doom. Because old G Doom, man, what you got for me today? I don't know. I don't feel gloomy. I really don't, even though it's a gloomy day here. Very gloomy. Um, oh, okay. I'm seeing the key words here, and I think I get it. The key word for Luminous Doom is self-defeat, self-pity, self-destruction, taking care of ourselves. Yeah, I totally admitted to earlier how my words were, I wanted to be sad. What the hell? You don't want to be sad. Why would you even say it like that? Okay, so self-pity is the first step on the slippery, seductive slide toward self-destruction. Too true that. Much of what I've said above about the Soul Shrinker card, which, we know about the Soul Shrinker, it's all about, malice and gossip and all of that sort of thing. In a way, thought, the part of ourselves that he witnesses, is worse than what the soul shrinker sees. When we curse others through sending the energy of malice, which is what the whole soul shrinker is about, and ill will toward them, they may reject our sendings. However, when we curse ourselves through self-pity, self-destructive attitudes, there is little, if any, resistance, and the curse takes immediate effect and continues to act until we change our attitudes. As I said, I'm in this in-between spot, which I realize that the astrology talks about that as well. And you can't change what you're not willing to acknowledge. So I know I had to acknowledge it. It's interesting, isn't it? How we can see at once that the soul shrinker is ugly, but Gloominous Doom has a certain charm, a kind of weird attractiveness. We feel sorry for him. He looks so pitiful. And there is another side to him that one Oracle group member sees. I feel that Gloominous Doom is underrated as a helper. He can be there for you when no one else wants to know. The state of self-pity, when all seems terrible and the whole world is against you, is an important part of the process. Well, I don't have anybody against me, so I don't understand what that means, but we all get down sometimes. You could say that we even need it to compare with when we feel good. Well, I know that that's true. But this whole thing that I'm looking at for myself, there's really nothing to compare to. Luminous Doom is ready and willing to help us explore just how awful it all feels, just how bad it is, and how hard done by we feel. And that's just it. I don't feel hard done by. It was a sting. That's all. It just stung. But I have to look at that no matter what. I have to look at that. I can't sweep it under the rug. Our feelings need to be fully acknowledged and understood. How can you possibly let them go if you don't properly know them in the first place? That's true. Because we tuck them away and hide them from sight until they appear again, maybe in a different guise. That's why I don't want to do that. Luminous Doom helps us properly explore. I wonder if there's something else besides that. Because really, this has been going on with my kid for a while. And I know with all of me, that has nothing to do with me. Oh, I know why. Because I had an expectation. I had an expectation that no matter what was going on with him, that Mother's Day would be different. That even though whatever he's struggling with, yeah, that's what it is. See, that's where expectations will get you, right? At least in my experience, that's where having an expectation about something will reach up and bite you right in the butt. Luminous Doom helps us properly explore our gloomy feelings of doom so that we can be done with them. It is a very important job. The ultimate test here, of course, is to take responsibility. And that's what this is. That's why I'm looking at it. I want to take full responsibility for the way that I'm feeling in regards to this. And again, I stand by my feeling. It has absolutely nothing to do with him. It has to do with me. For ourselves and our attitudes, we have to take responsibility for ourselves and our attitudes and to choose a path that is life affirming, not life denying. The sorrier we feel for ourselves, the worse our life will become. And that's true too. I already know that. I've been there. Trust me. Reread that last sentence, please. Okay, I will. The ultimate test here, of course, is to take responsibility for ourselves and our attitudes and to choose a path that is life affirming, not life denying. The sorrier we feel for ourselves, the worse our life becomes. It is not the other way around. Self-pity makes things worse, and we have a choice. One we have every moment as to whether we want to make our lives better or worse. And only we can choose that for ourselves. And I know that's true too. It is time to face the fact that our attitudes and beliefs about ourselves are our own. We may have learned them from others, but the others are not responsible for them in the here and now. And I know that's true too. Yeah, you can bet. I know exactly where all of this programming and conditioning, her mother, all the way back, right? But they haven't been for years. Hi, DG. I sure don't want to make reservations for Pittyville Population 1. Yeah, right. No, I know you're right. But at the same time, I also didn't want to just dismiss the feelings I was having because for me, that's dangerous too. That leads to white knuckle bypassing. And I've seen an awful lot of that, white knuckle bypassing. And then stuff just builds up. When you're willing to sweep one little thing under the rug, believe you me, that gets easier and easier to do. At least that's been my experience for me. When this card appears in a reading, it indicates that this is a time when understanding that concept is especially important. A time when there is some sort of crunch in the situation that offers someone the opportunity to notice and change such self-destructive habits. If it is yourself, you know what you need to do. If it is someone else, you may wish to consider how you might support them in this opportunity for change. Well, that was the whole thing. I wanted to acknowledge it. And I did so finally last night. I said it out loud to Lisa. DG said, I think mine might be coming from my own judgments about what their behavior means about me. Well, see, that's just it. I knew and I know in my rational mind that it has absolutely nothing to do with me. The little me wants to say that it does, that, well, he's mad at me and there's a reason for him not responding to me, and I'm his mother. That's so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous to me. That has no bearing on anything. He's a grown person with a child of his own. That's why I said I was in two, and and rightfully so. I saw, if you haven't listened to the recording I did about today's full moon, DG, I highly recommend it because this was very clear to me what I was doing. I had a foot in two worlds. I could see it but it didn't change the feelings I was having about it. And I didn't want to sweep those feelings under the rug because that leads to danger for me. Danger, Will Robinson, let me just say, because that's when old gloominess doom will start to take effect. And well, we're off to the races from there. And I didn't want that. So yeah, okay. I think the coming together card is got to be next. Yeah, that's Journey of Love. So I'm glad that actually came up because that was last night, and I feel like I've got it. I really do have it, but I kind of slipped into while I was sort of meditating earlier while I was reshuffling all these decks in a really big fashion, a little bit of, well, what do you think you're doing here? That kind of thing. So coming together, you and another soul are coming into each other's worlds. Well, now this is kind of interesting because that author that I just found and asked permission to record his work, I feel like this is that because very clearly his work is having an effect on me. So that's very interesting. You and another soul are coming into each other's worlds because I know him from nowhere. I mean, just found him last week. It is a karmic destiny that is unfolding, an expression of a divine plan set in motion many lifetimes ago. Well, that's kind of interesting. That destiny may have a romantic purpose. I highly doubt that. I'm too old for him. It may have a sacredness that is sexual. No. I think sacredness, sure, but I, again, too old. I'm an old lady. It may have a sacredness that is creative, tender, about learning self-esteem or courage. Yes, that I do feel. It may bring a gift of enduring friendship and loyalty, or be an expression of a passing flash of divine force that shakes your foundations and helps move you out of a situation which would have consumed your light with tediousness and playing small. Well, that could be it too, because I've been wondering about that whole playing it small thing. That's what I was sitting here musing about while I was, it's like, what now? This is kind of getting old what I'm doing. I don't even know why I'm doing this. There's nobody that's contacting me for getting sound is cutting in and out. Thank you for telling me that, honey. Let me see if I can pull this down here a little bit. How about now? Is it better now? I don't want it to be right in my face if I can help it. There's something very touchy about this microphone too, where I don't know if the connections are not all that great. DG, will you let me know if that's any better? Anyway, let's see. We'll go. I'll go back to it now. It's so aggravating because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a very technically unsavvy old lady. I really don't know what I'm doing here. So, there's that. Um, so it may bring a gift of I already read that. Still happening. Oh, bummer. Well, maybe there's I don't know what's happening. Okay, so I hope that it's not like that on the recording. We'll see, huh? Hmm. So let me see, where was I here? It may bring a gift of enduring friendship and loyalty, or be an expression of a passing flash of divine force that shakes your foundations and helps you move out of a situation which would have consumed your light with tediousness and playing small. The coming together is happening, however. Know it is of love. Well, I feel like that's true no matter whom I meet or what circumstances it's going on there. This oracle brings guidance. If you are going to be moved by love, whether it is long term or fast and furious, it is love and it has meaning. Let it be what it is and do not try to force it to become what you think it must be. It was worth It has worth, as do you. Enjoy the experience and know it serves your growth. Well, I already feel like that's really cool. The sound is fine on my end. Oh, okay. Thank you, Kaylin, for letting me know. There's a little quote here. It says, two energy patterns come together, a shared frequency in a field of possibilities, and there was resonance. Well, I do feel like I said, y'all have to check it out. If you haven't listened to the short videos that I've put out, where I'm reading the work of author Jason Gray. Oh, I'm telling you, there's just something about what he's putting out there. I have several more of his works to record, and it's like they're just coming through him at such a fast pace. I personally keep finding them, and I'm like, oh God, I got to record that too. Some of them I just see the title, and that's what happens with Astro Butterflies stuff. I just see the title and I know I'm supposed to record it. Oftentimes, I won't know that I'm supposed to record it. And this is my own internal guidance that's telling me this until I've read part way into it. And then I know, oh, that's got to be recorded. Sometimes it's and I know why that is. It has something to do with my voice. The fact that uh I carry the Archangel Gabriel energy, and it's whenever I feel nudged to record something, there's something there for somebody. It's me, it's always me, but it's not just me, it's somebody else. And I feel as though, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel as though there are many, many, many translators on the planet. Wow. I am a translator and a catalyst, and I know that. But I'm not the only one. There are many on the planet. And I'm not the translator and catalyst for everyone or for everything either. So that's very interesting too. Boy, that looks different in the, huh. North Star. This is card number 19, which is a 1 numerologically. Flip your inner light switch. This is a little thing here that's according to Carol Lynn Pearson. According to Vedanta, which is Hindu teaching, there are only 2 symptoms of enlightenment. Just 2 indications that transformation is taking place within you toward a higher consciousness. The first symptom is that you stop worrying. Well, I think that's true because I don't worry about anything anymore. There's no worry. Worry doesn't do anything. Things don't bother you anymore. A lot of things don't. No. And if it does bother me, there's something for me to look at there. You become lighthearted and full of joy. I feel like that's a true statement too. The second symptom is that you encounter more and more meaningful coincidences in your life. Yeah, see, I don't believe there is such a thing as coincidence. The way that that is defined in the dictionary, I don't believe that that even exists. It's more like synchronicity in your life, more and more synchronicities. That's true. And this accelerates to the point where you actually experience the miraculous. And boy, I'm telling you, I feel like that's a true statement. Totally a true statement. This is from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. You are being shown a way out of no way. Just when you thought your back was against a wall, you're discovering an internal light that illuminates infinite possibilities. At each turn, take a moment to look up and meditate upon your own North Star. In other words, when in doubt, consider what your highest self would do. Ask yourself, if I were enlightened, what would I be moved to do? And how would I be moved to do it? Well, wow, that's a direct answer to what I was saying earlier as I was sitting here asking about why am I doing this? What am I doing? Huh, very interesting. I will try that. As you do this, realize you are a celestial being, woven of starlight throughout the galaxy of your cells, molecules, and atoms. You have the answers you seek before the questions are even formulated. Travel your path with confidence, joy, and enthusiasm, knowing your life is not a problem to be solved, but a magical treasure hunt to explore by the light of your North Star. Now, I believe that's true. I have really come to see my life as a quest, even the hard parts, most especially perhaps the hard parts are part of my quest. There's a dream symbol here of celebrity. Dreams of a celebrity are a message for you to shine like the star you were born to be. No more hiding in the wings. Consider a dream of a celebrity as an invitation to confront your fears of exposure, to up level your boldness. I don't know how I could be any more bold, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty effing bold to say the least, and to allow your star qualities to shine, dazzle, and delight the world. This dream is here to remind you that this day and this moment will only come once. Your life is not a practice run, so go out and share your gifts. Well, I concur. That's a true statement there. At 63, I intend to stand right where I am and enjoy every moment. There's a mantra associated with this card. I stand in the interstellar spotlight of my life, fully revealing my star attributes. Not everybody appreciates my star attributes. Let me just put it to you like that, which is exactly why, which is exactly why I didn't hear from my child. Oh my God, no wonder. All right, well, the very last card here is from the Alchemy Elementals deck, and it's the card Love, and it's on page 101. So the card itself is numerologically a 9, and the 101 is either a 2, an 11, or a 1. I mean, it could be any one of those things. You could call it that, I feel. But the card is love. Oh, and I'm wearing a dress that's all butterflies and butterflies in my hair. And look at this, all butterflies. When you draw the love card, you know the card is speaking to your soul's journey in the ways of the heart. The love card is about operating from the heart, leading from the heart, and walking what my ancestors called the pathway of the heart. The pathway of the heart is guided by expansion and flow. Highly recommend that because that's the only way to fly, if you ask me. It is about connecting authentically from a place of true freedom, true sovereignty, true liberation. My sister actually has a saying that she's very fond of, that love is liberty and liberty is love. And I would say that this really says just that. A lot of people like to think the love card is about their soulmate or their twin flame or some Disney fairy tale happily ever after romance kind of thing, except that's all matrix programming. And that tries to convince people that love is something outside of themselves that they have to chase, that they have to cling to, and that they have to jump through hoops to obtain and earn and keep and be worthy of. Boy, isn't that a true statement? Even the love and light community talks about the whole twin flame thing. Like, I, I just have to roll my eyes behind that. Because I really don't think that's a thing. Not in the way that it's been made out to be, right? This is false, and this is a trap that has nothing to do with love or with the pathway of the heart. The pathway of the heart is about being fully expressed and fully experienced and allowing others to be fully expressed and fully experienced without rules or regulations or restrictions or judgment or preference or expectation or hesitation or constriction. This theme is about loving for the sake of loving because you are love. Well, that really is the answer, isn't it? That's I kind of interesting that I chose this to be the last card because the whole thing, my whole thing this morning has been centered around a lot of that. And I just got through saying that obviously the reason I felt stung was because there was a part of me that had some expectations. Can't have those. And okay, yeah, there must have been a bit of judgment there where I wanted to have some kind of thoughts and feelings about it. Had to feel some kind of way about it. Wow, this has been a really good one for me all around today. I hope that you have found something helpful here in this reading today, because I sure have. I want to tell everyone that 1 week from today, um, one of our collaborative partners here at New Light Streaming Love will be undergoing surgery on her spine. Crystal will be having her surgery 1 week from today. I am going to be, as soon as I hang up here, I'm going to be creating a GoFundMe, and I'm going to put it in the community tabs as a post here on YouTube. I'm also going to do probably a short video about it and share it around on Facebook, because Crystal is a single homeschooling mom, and she has a job besides the things that she does metaphysically as a side gig. But as you might imagine, undergoing surgery on the spine means that you won't be able to work for several weeks. And if you would like to support her, please do see the video that I did about how you can do that by purchasing one of her items, which I show you how to access them, where to go, all that sort of stuff. Or also, if you just want to share any little tiny bit that you can will help on the GoFundMe, I would love it if you would do so. If you would prefer to have a session with me, I'm going to do sessions, either BQH, invisible garment, whatever you want to do, and you're willing to exchange a little do re mi for that. I don't put prices on anything because I don't do sales, that sort of thing. I'm not here to make money, but anything that I receive is going to Crystal for now to help support her. So if you want to have some time with me and you're willing to do that, that would be lovely. Reach out to me at consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. By the same token, I want to start the book club for Celestine Prophecy. If you guys want to spend 2 hours a week getting together and reading this, there's no money involved in this at all. Just want to get together with others who are interested in doing that. And I think maybe I'll do a standalone video about that too, because not one being has contacted me about that. So that's it for this one. I love you guys so much. I hope that you will continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself. It is just a matter of your perspective and your perception of your perspective. And until we meet again.